From people who mysteriously vanish off the face of the planet to sightings of unknown monsters, here are the creepiest Wikipedia pages you should definitely check out. Number 13. List of missing people. Wikipedia has done a fairly decent job of documenting many moments in history and basic information of various topics. There's a huge list out there of people who mysteriously disappeared from the face of the planet, with the first one dating back to 531 BC. The first person to mysteriously disappear on Wikipedia's list was the Chinese man named Laozi. He was the founder of the Buddhist denomination of Taoism. He apparently left China to go into the wilderness on the back of a water buffalo and was never seen or heard from ever again. More recent decades are much more detailed on Wikipedia, and you start to appreciate the fact that you yourself haven't mysteriously disappeared yet. The list is extremely long, and it's crazy to think how many people just vanished off the face of the planet. What happened to all these people? Were any of them possibly abducted by aliens? Who knows? Number 12. Most haunted places in each state. Are you starting to think the house next door might be haunted, or something evil is going on down the street, but haven't really looked into it just yet? Wikipedia has a page which lists multiple haunted locations in each state. Almost every state had at least one haunted place listed, and some places you wouldn't expect can be extremely haunted. The state of Montana, for example, seems to have quite a few haunted places for a state with a relatively low population density, and Alabama seemed to be one of the most haunted states out of all of them. So in case you thought there were no spooky places to go for Halloween, check out this page first, or some of our YouTube videos. Number 11. Feral children. In order to be completely human, do we need to be raised by humans? Or are we a product of nature or nurture? These children went through some extraordinary experiences which might make them just a little bit wild. Sometimes, it's not always humans that raise other humans. Wikipedia put together a fairly detailed list of people who've been raised by dogs, wolves, sheep, ostriches, and all kinds of stuff. There are also unfortunate events of kids being raised in complete confinement for their entire lives, such as the case of Jeannie, found in Los Angeles. It can get pretty creepy to see how some of these people might turn out when animals replace their parents. Some of them have extremely good abilities to communicate with animals, but completely lack human language. The cases of children who end up being completely isolated for several years of their life tend to be mute, impulsive, display no signs of compassion, but can also pick up on body language quite well. Number 10. Evil clown page. Ever wonder why clowns seem so evil, or the origins of their evilness? Clowns did start off being pretty funny creatures until they evolved into something a whole lot scarier. Wikipedia can help us figure out this enduring mystery. It turns out we have Stephen King to thank for creating the evil killer clown persona after being inspired by John Wayne Gacy. Since then, characters such as the Joker from Batman appeared in comic books and in movies, making it just a little bit creepier. But then, creepy urban legends were starting to spread around about 6 psychotic clowns, and that was just enough. Be sure to check out this page for more creepy stuff clowns have done. Number 9. The Horoyong concentration camp. We all know North Korea is up to some crazy stuff, but you might have not really had any idea about how bad the prisoner camps truly were unless you stayed there. This Wikipedia page talks about the horrific conditions of this camp, and it's hard to believe something such as this could really exist in the modern world. Prisoners would get fed just a little bit of corn each day, no meat, or really anything of nutritional value. Most of the food they'd have to eat was caught on their own, things such as frogs, rats, snakes, and even insects. Prisoners are forced to work in a coal mine and endure heavy labor each day. Some inmates were reported subjects of experimentation, which might be quite shocking. Horoyong was eventually closed, but not without scarring people mentally and physically. More details about this place are too insane to mention on YouTube, but go ahead and check it out on Wikipedia. Number 8. Unethical human experimentation in the US. Before we even consider talking about some bad things North Korea has done, go ahead and take a look at the horrible stuff our government has done to people throughout time. It makes North Korea look like a cakewalk. Many of the experiments were done to people without their knowledge, and most of the time, it required some horrible disease that they were trying to spread. Some projects include, but aren't limited to, researchers purposely infecting orphans with horrific diseases, exposing people to heavy doses of radiation, unbelievable medical experiments involving cow blood transfusions, etc. The page is quite long, and we could really make a whole video on this one, but it's pretty gruesome. But once you read through it, you may never trust the government ever again. Oh yeah, and it also seems as though no US government official has ever been prosecuted for the experiments they've conducted. Number 7. Clairvius Narcisse. This guy from Haiti was reportedly turned into a zombie by means of Haitian Voodoo. They certainly had a method of turning him into a zombie by using psychoactive substances from a toad and a neurotoxin known as tetrodotoxin. He was declared dead for 18 years by 2 doctors, but was found to be wandering around a village working on plantations. How is this even possible? Voodoo practitioners could theoretically cause someone to die and be brought back to life with a different toxin. The belief of zombies is deeply rooted into Haitian culture, and this is one of the creepiest cases of zombieism out there. It's almost as though the voodoo practitioner made him lose his soul in a sense, and eventually, he returned to his home village after being gone for 18 years, leaving his sister in complete shock. The story is quite interesting, and you should really read more about it on Wikipedia. Number 6. Cordyceps. Something such as Cordyceps featured in the game The Last of Us is a killer ant and bug fungus that infiltrates their bodies and minds. It causes ants to move upwards towards the sky, and the fungal spore will erupt from its brain. The fungus is so deadly and contagious that it can infect entire ant colonies in just weeks. Now imagine some crazy scientist developing a weaponized version of this fungus which can infect humans. In case you didn't think it could happen to us, the fungus has shown signs of evolving and being able to affect larger species of bugs such as tarantulas and something like in this photo. Number 5. The Flatwoods Monster. A seemingly close encounter with some type of extraterrestrial being took place in West Virginia in 1952 by 2 young men, and Wikipedia gives a pretty good description of what allegedly happened, which turns out to be pretty creepy. Imagine encountering some type of horrific monster that crashed from a UFO, then being sick with a mysterious illness not long after. If the whole thing was just a hoax, it would seem to be a little bit strange that they both got sick at the same time. Some believe that it could have been some type of virus from outer space, while others believe it was some type of fuel they used to power the spacecraft that crashed. The whole event was well documented by newspapers. The boys both described the monster as being about 7 to 10 feet tall, with shrilling red eyes and long skinny arms and fingers. Number 4. Inventors and their inventions. There's another list on Wikipedia which provides you with the names of inventors who were actually killed by their own inventions. Inventing is a tough job and someone's gotta do it. It turns out that inventing ain't all that easy. In ironic turns of events, people who made the wrong decisions with their devices they've created shows up on this list. Sometimes it goes well, and sometimes it just doesn't. Let's ask this Austrian guy how it went for him. Franz Reichelt was an inventor who was trying to design parachutes and wingsuits. One day, he decided to test out one of his inventions by jumping off the Eiffel Tower. And since he's on this list, you can probably take a pretty good guess that it didn't go too well for him. This seems to happen all the time, even as recently as the guy who invented the Segway had an ironic twist of fate when he kind of segued off a cliff. Number 3. The Rat King. If you really don't like rats, you probably don't want to go on this Wikipedia page. Scientists have warned that the UK will notice a huge increase of giant rat infestations in the upcoming years. Imagine walking into the kitchen and seeing a cat-sized rat on your countertop. You should have never left that bag of Fritos open. Not only are they freaking huge, they are becoming rat poison resistant, meaning that they've evolved to the point where they're nearly indestructible. But that's not the type of rat king we're talking about. The real rat kings are some type of big ball of rodents who are entangled at the tail. This isn't the normal stuff you'd probably find in most encyclopedias, but Wikipedia's got it. They were originally thought to be cryptids, but in places with large populations of rats, this is very much a reality. The Rat King basically either has to live the rest of his life as a rat king or gnaw off its tail. Which would you choose? Let us know in the comment section. Number 2. Near nuclear devastation, North Carolina. It's pretty creepy to realize how close the US was to having a massive nuclear detonation in a fairly populous region. A serious plane crash took place in 1961 with a B-52 Stratofortress bomber carrying 2 thermonuclear weapons. When the plane malfunctioned, the pilots were ejected from the cockpit, but this also resulted in them dropping their nuclear payout in eastern North Carolina. 2 nuclear bombs struck the ground, but miraculously, they didn't detonate. This disaster would have been powerful enough to completely wipe off the city of Greensboro from the map. One bomb with 250 times the power of the one dropped on Hiroshima plunged into a muddy field traveling 700 miles an hour. it was recovered 20 feet below the ground. Lieutenant Jack Ravel, a person responsible for disarming the bomb, stated that there would have been a 100% kill zone with an 8.5-mile radius. Parker F. Jones stated that one simple dynamo technology such as low voltage switch prevented the major catastrophe. Be sure to check this out on Wikipedia for more details. Number 1. Spontaneous human combustion. Another interesting page Wikipedia hosts is about spontaneous human combustion. Imagine just sitting on your couch one day, watching an American Eye video, then out of nowhere, you're completely engulfed in flames. It's been quite the mystery, but Wikipedia does a decent job of putting together some information on it. People started documenting records and hypotheses in 1746. Some ideas suggest that the type of fire is ignited by bodily gas somehow. But seriously, there have been quite a few reports of this happening, which cause great damage. Some claim that the fat under the skin can act as a candle in some cases, keeping the flame alive. Whatever the case may be, it's a pretty freaky wiki page.